The weapon that was the bane of everyone's existence back at launch now has its variant out. The Sloshing Machine Neo is finally here, and it comes with the point sensor and Splat Bomb Rush. The Sloshing Machine has been one of those few weapons that for a while I've been saying that it's at least decent. Back in Splatoon 1 it was a good weapon and rather annoying to play against, however what really held it back was the fact that defense existed, and defense up actually kind of stopped the Sloshing Machine from doing as much damage as it had. So a lot of the times the Sloshing Machine would need to run a bunch of damage up to counteract defense, and then if they weren't wearing defense, like in the later game when people started to wear QR instead, then you were just kind of stacking damage up for nothing. But overall, at the end of the Splatoon 1, I was telling people that the machine was a good weapon, and though not many people at the time played it, I think only 2 people, them being Notorious's Pika and at the time the Phoenix's Arrow, were pretty much the only 2 people that played machine, and they were probably the most annoying people to play against because they knew how to use the weapon. So going into Splatoon 2, where the damage up and defense up have been removed, I sort of expected the machine to start picking up, especially when it came out, and people saw that it had Auto Bomb, which at launch was considered to be one of the better subs, as it did a lot of tracking and helping people figure out where people were moving, as at the launch people were still trying to figure out what to do and how to handle things. And while Stingray wasn't really exactly the best special at launch, as they started to buff it, then the machine became more and more prevalent alongside the Rapid Blaster. But this video is about the Sloshing Machine. The main weapon itself overall is really good, with high mobility, high damage, and the fact that it doesn't really get any fall-off damage at any point. It's not really susceptible to fall-off damage like a lot of weapons are. It sort of functions as a mix between a blaster and a slosher. While the game technically classifies it as a slosher, it sort of functions the same way as a blaster would, where it has directs and indirects. But I'm not going to go too much on about the main weapon itself, as I think at this point pretty much everyone has played this weapon. So let's get on with the actual kit itself. First off, I think it'd be very fair to say that right now Sloshing Machine Neo is probably one of the best point sensor weapons. A lot of the times when people think of point sensors, they don't really consider them to be of any value, especially because they're on weapons that don't really do well by themselves and don't really need the point sensor. In my opinion, I would say the 52 is still a good point sensor weapon. However, not many people are actually willing to play that weapon, especially because it doesn't have a sub that assists it, which is understandable. The difference here is the point sensor doesn't really help the Sloshing Machine itself. However, it is one of the best weapons as a main weapon to have point sensors, as unlike a lot of the other point sensor weapons, the main weapon itself is good enough to function around just about any kit it's given. In my opinion, it's sort of like the Splatter Shot, where you could probably give the Splatter Shot whatever kit and it would be fine. The Sloshing Machine is in a very similar boat, where I feel like no matter what the kit is, the weapon itself is still going to be okay if the person is good at it. Where in most cases, a lot of other weapons aren't going to be in a very similar boat, where they sort of need their kit to sort of help them get around the weaknesses the weapon possesses. But the Sloshing Machine is such a strong overall main weapon itself that I feel like the kit isn't really too much of a bother to it, regardless of what it is. That being said, assuming people actually stick to this weapon, it'll probably become the most common point sensor weapon, and a lot of the people at launch were making fun of the fact that people are going to actually start running cold-blooded, and that this weapon is going to be what makes Nintendo finally buff cold-blooded. I'm in the minority of thinking that point sensors are still good and have a lot more value than people give them credit for. Believe it or not, people are still afraid of being marked, as a lot of the times people tend to shark and hide. So being marked gives away a lot of position and basically forces you to retreat, but a lot of times people don't have or don't see the value in that, I guess. But then again, it could also easily be a case of, because there isn't really a main weapon that people would deem worthy of having a point sensor on it. People don't see the value in running a point sensor weapon if they have to give up a good main weapon. That all being said, I would definitely classify the Sloshing Machine Neo as one of the best point sensor weapons. Now let's move on to its special, the Splat Bomb Rush. Much in the way of point sensors, the Sloshing Machine Neo is probably one of the better bomb rush weapons right now, or bomb launcher, depending on how picky you want to get about this. But it is basically one of the few sort of easier to use bomb rush weapons. I mean, sure, the Splat Bomb Rush also exists on the Rapid Blaster, and the Rapid is also a good weapon, The Rapid is also what I would consider to be a backliner, where the Sloshing Machine can fill a sort of neutral role, can be more out in the open and get in the face of people while still acting off range. So if there are people that played the Rapid Blaster for the Bomb Rush, they would feel more at home when it comes to playing the Sloshing Machine Neo if they want to participate more into the match and don't want to just sit back and sort of play defense, but would rather much play a mid-liner or a front-liner weapon. Then the Machine Neo is actually a good choice for that. Now usually I mention if the special is what I would consider to be good for the weapon, as if it assists it or any way, shape, or form, but a Bomb Rush is more of an overall just works sort of special. I would say that just about any weapon could probably do decently with a Bomb Rush, and it doesn't really hurt to have a Bomb Rush. Just giving you and your teammates control or pressuring the opponent with a Bomb Rush is more valuable than a lot of things, and actually provides a lot more assistance than a lot of the other weapons. Like giving a missile to a weapon right now probably isn't as helpful as just giving it a Bomb Rush. So while it might not be the best special to assist the weapon itself, it is a good, it's a balanced special that can be given to just about anything and be okay on it. So I would say that the Bomb Rush is a good special for the Machine Neo to have. Overall, the Sloshing Machine Neo is just good. The main weapon itself is really good, really powerful, really annoying to play against, and if someone is really good, then they just become more irritating to play against. And the point sensor, while not valued by a lot of people, is probably one of the best subs you could get away with on this weapon, as the main weapon itself acts fine. And this is the first time where a good main weapon itself has a point sensor to go alongside it. And then a Bomb Rush, in my opinion, is almost never bad. Unless the weapon itself can't really build it that fast, then it might be unfortunate, but Sloshing Machine Neo has no problem building Bomb Rush, so it doesn't have to worry about that. So I would definitely say this is a weapon worth trying. If you're a big fan of the original Rapid Blaster, you might want to give this weapon a shot. Maybe play a bit more of a frontliner, contribute to the match a bit more, maybe see how it goes for you. If you haven't played the Sloshing Machine, because you might be one of the few people that may not be a big fan of the Stingray or Autobomb, this will definitely be something worth trying, as point sensors are really good, especially in solo ranked. It gives your teammates a lot more knowledge than you could possibly give in solo ranked. And the Bomb Rush is always good to have and is always helpful for getting back in or maintaining control. So this is definitely something I would say people should give a shot. And if you have your own differing opinions or you want to share something else, feel free to leave a comment below. And I want to thank everyone for watching, and I will see you all next time.